Howdy ho, Maplers. It's not been very long, has it? We completed Bishop. Honestly, did not expect it to be this fast. The Celestial event that just finished up was absolutely absurdly overpowered in every aspect. Oh my lord. I was expecting Bishop to take around the same time as Dual Blade. Maybe even a little bit longer, but holy moly, Surge buff is really strong. For Bishop, the gear is all pretty much the same. Same drop gear that I always use. An okay cup. I didn't really get to equip this until 247 because I didn't have enough Charm EXP to unlock the slot. I forgot to move my belt over, but it didn't matter in the end, so I just stuck with the Star Force belt that I had on the character. And finally, the weapon I showed off like over a year ago in my storage. It's just been sitting there waiting for me to get to a class that can use a wand. I finally get to use this beautiful Fafnir that I've been holding on to for over a year. It's just been collecting dust. It finally gets put to use. It's pretty nice. A drop rate pendant of spirit for the EXP. Always want it while you're training. Pretty much decent stuff all around. I decided to use my Spectrum goggles on these characters. I might just end up using Spectrum goggles for all classes moving forward, because realistically, this is a 12% all stat face accessory that's fully tradable. That's better than most of the face accessory, or the eye accessories rather, that I'm using on some of my 250s. So really I could just use this on everybody now that I'm thinking about it. Even though it has that prime luck line on it, that doesn't really matter. It's still just 12% all stat, which is really good for a placeholder, because generally I just roll for like one line of prime stat on epic tier for my eye and face accessory and just roll with that. Our top and our bottom, nothing has changed on any of the mage equips since my last mage. It's all pretty much done. It's good enough to get all mages to 250, I think. Mages are pretty strong. There's not going to be anything that's really going to struggle. My very nice shield. Last time I used that was on Beast Tamer. Oh boy, that was a long time ago. And for Bishop, ideally you want more buff duration than I had on this because it's super duper handy, but you definitely want the attack speed line on your prime line. I got to 236 before I got the line. I definitely noticed the difference when I was doing my dojo runs pre and post getting that attack speed line. So I would say it's a pretty good thing to go for early on. For your V Matrix, who would have guessed Bishop is really simple. Like, extraordinarily simple. You don't even have enough skills that you want to boost to fill out 2 tri-nodes. It's so dumb. You have 5 skills to boost, and then you just have to pick a 6th one to just fill the group out. For your first trio, the most important trio, Big Bang, Angel Ray, and Genesis. Those are your mobbing skills and your main bossing skill. And for your second trio, Bahamut, Heaven's Door, and whatever you happen to roll. I decided with Shiny Ray because I was like, of the options, it's the least terrible. I still never used it, so take that as you will. But it's really kind of refreshing that it's just this easy to max out Bishop's nodes. You only have 5 important skills. It's so nice. Bishop's first skill, Benediction. As pretty much everyone knows, Bishop is just the best support class in the game. Due in large part to this skill right here. This is so goddamn strong. Like, this is what keeps Bishop at the top for bossing parties. It's just a ridiculously strong burst buff. And that's pretty much what Bishop does. It doesn't really have burst in and of itself, it just has burst given to your party, which is just so much more than what most classes can do on their own. Their second skill, Angel of Balance, it's pretty much only a bossing skill. When you're not in your bossing mode, it just gives you a small heal and a little bit of damage. It's not really noticeable, and it replaces your Bahamut summon. So you can leave it off unless you're doing your dojo runs. It's not all that important. And your third skill, the one you'll be using the most often while training, Peacemaker. I like the skill, but I don't. It's good, but it isn't. It's got a ginormous hitbox, which is great, but the amount of enemies hit is only 10. Now, in CLP, there's over 30 mobs on the map with Frenzied Spawn. So I would cast this and Genesis at the same time, and I wouldn't clear the map. Think about that. Just casting Ruin as an Adele clears the map about 4 times. Using your 2 giant AoE bursts on Bishop can't clear the map once. Oh man, the power creep in this game. Holy moly. True Arachnid Reflection for completing the Will storyline. It's always handy. It's extra bossing, it's extra mobbing, it's just useful. As soon as you get it, just slap it on. Decent Sharp Eyes, decent Speed Infusion, pretty much the duo of good decents you want on your board. You don't need the extra crit rate from Decent Sharp Eyes, because one of the good things about Bishop is you have a crazy high base crit rate. Like, I don't know why Bishop of all classes is the one that they gave just ridiculously good crit rate, but the extra crit damage, definitely handy. Then Rope Lift, honestly, put this in as soon as you can. Bishop has one of the worst teleports ever. It's such a pitiful range. It's so low mobility. You need the help from Rope Lift whenever you can get it. It's super duper nice to have. Then Mana Overload, it just gives you more final damage on all of your skills, but it takes up a percentage of your max MP for every skill you use. It's nice for additional damage while mobbing, and if you have a refillable potion or just access to a ton of healing potions in general, it's pretty darn good to have. And then of course, character building 1, because if you're going to be training for a long time, probably like a week, always make this. It's pretty cheap for what it is, and it gives a good boost in your overall EXP. Now, like I said, Bishop is a simple one, like exceedingly simple. To the point, it's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing that the class is super beginner friendly, but to the curse of the class is just really, really, really immobile. It has zero flexibility in its mobbing. Like, you need these small maps, and I did 200 to 205 in the Hidden Fire Zone. I'm actually starting to like this map a lot more now that I'm using it. But Bishop has almost no mobility while it's mobbing. Big Bang, while it has a deceptively large animation, has a pretty meh hitbox. Add that in with your only mobility being telecasting, you're really limited on the maps that you can train in efficiently. So you want to stick to the maps that are small to small mid-range, and those just happen to be some of the most popular maps for almost every class. So Bishop has some tough competition to get good training areas, especially during crazy good events like the Celestial Surge event. But for the rotation here, pretty simple. I just set Lucid up here, she'll take care of the left, cast Genesis and Heaven's Door on cooldown, those are just your big mobbing skills, and then just telecast along the bottom usually. And you'll get through to 205 pretty quick. Even though it's not the most efficient, it's pretty quick. You can even throw Peacemaker over to the side while you're teleporting to the other side, it'll explode, kill a few mobs over there, and by the time you get back over, they'll have respawned and you'll get to kill them. Slightly more efficient, but it's not going to be the best EXP. That's pretty much what Bishop is going to be. It's like, while the rotations are okay, they're not going to be the greatest EXP. But that's where I stayed until 205. At 205, I went to Reverse City, because by golly, I love Reverse City. Especially the Hidden Research Train. Oh, I love this map. It's so good. It's like Choo Choo 5 levels earlier. That's just how good this map is. Undeniably the best training area for its level range if you have the Arcane Forest. Rotation, pretty much the same as everyone else. Drop the Lucid Soul over there on that platform, and you just stand over here and you telecast on these platforms here. It's slightly annoying because there's this pretty sizable gap, and as I said earlier, Bishop's teleport is pretty trashy. So you'll get stuck a lot. Like, it's not a good teleport. It's an old teleport. It needs to have the exact range to teleport. It's not like a Battle Mage teleport or an Equilibrium Luminous teleport where you still teleport even if there's nothing directly under your feet at the end of your teleport range. It's outdated. It's not intrinsically terrible, but it just feels really dated. And I think, like, the main thing I have about Bishop is it's almost time for it to be reworked. It's definitely showing its age. The last major changes Bishop got was in the red patch. And pretty much that's the rotation. You have your summon over there, and you just teleport left and right on this one. What I did, I would do 2 rotations of left and right, and then just throw Peacemaker. And usually the cooldowns lined up pretty nice. It was good EXP, I'm not gonna lie. These early levels, there isn't much of an improvement from the best to the worst mobbers on these early levels because the maps are just really forgiving. Like, they're really well made that almost any class in the game can farm them effectively. And I stayed there until 2:15. I teleported to Choo Choo on accident. I meant to go to Yum Yum Island. I promised I would do this in my Yum Yum Island video. For this character, 2:15 until 2:27. I stayed in the Hidden Iliard Forest. You know, I really like this map still. Just like Hidden Research Trade, I really like this map. It's really darn good, and it's really simple. I would just line myself up with this rope here, and set Lucid Soul. And that would effectively take care of that side of the map. And then you're just telecasting this way and that way. I would throw my Peacemaker off to the side that doesn't have the Lucid Soul, and then just telecast. And this is the best map Bishop ever has. Like, this is as good as it gets because you are triple platting with Big Bang. This is like peak Bishop is an okay mobber map. It doesn't get better than this. And that's why I stayed here until 2:27. Totally not because Surge made CLP completely inaccessible for the entire event. No, I stayed because I liked the map. But yeah, this is pretty much the best map for Bishop. I really enjoyed the levels that I was here. It was really fast. It felt almost like a really good mobber. And I got through most of these levels in 2 days. I completely skipped over Lachlan, but you can go to Rev 3. It's still a pretty good map. You would just telecast, like all Bishop training maps. You just telecast Big Bang left and right and set your summon on the house, just like most of the mobbers in Rev 3. But yeah, the Hidden Iliard Forest, whoo boy, it's really darn good. And now for the tough part of the video. Oh boy. Surge buff definitely made CLP a very popular map. It also brought a lot of people back to training, so I don't know if I'll be able to show off the rotation for this, because finding a CLP is like finding a diamond at this point. It's just unbelievably hard, unless you get here super early in the morning, and unfortunately for me, I'm recording this video after work instead of early in the morning like I usually do with these. So it'll be a coin flip if we find a channel. Crossed fingers, but I'm not expecting great things. Because as I was saying, through the entirety of the Celestial event on this character, CLP was full, almost 24/7. It was unbelievable the amount of people who were training. People were even selling and buying maps during the event because there was just so much demand for this map during the event. It was unreal. I don't believe we're gonna find one, but I'll go through at least all 30. Hey, an Ilium! Ooh, Pog. Can't wait to do Ilium. Seems super fun. I know my ping is gonna make it god-awful, but I still like the aesthetic of the class, so it could be good. Oh hey, a Gildy. I think I know who that is. Let's see if we can steal his map for a moment. Let's see. Let's see if he's a good person. I feel like I'm imposing on him, but at this point it's pretty much our best bet to find a channel. Ah, he's focusing on his farming. Oh, he's testing something. Big Pog. While he's testing something, I'll show you the map that I did a bunch of training in. And that was Deepest Cavern, Lower Path. I honestly thought when I started these 250s that I would never make this map work, because it doesn't have enough mobs, and the map layout is really wonky that almost no one will make this efficient. But hey, guess what? Bishop is just in that sweet spot where it's mediocre enough of a mobber where it can make this map actually a decent alternative when everything's full. And it's really, really simple. Rotation was generally just toss the will skill on the left side, telecast and clear both platforms, super duper nice, drop down here and set Lucid Soul, throw Peacemaker, and then just keep teleporting. And then while your Peacemaker's on cooldown, you don't drop down, instead you just teleport back, and it's a really simple rotation. The XP isn't good, because the map's terrible. But as an alternative, when there is literally no CLPs in existence, it's an okay alternative, and I did a lot of training here. It's also very, very simple. So I was able to watch a lot on the side. Let's see. Don't want this to drag too long waiting for a CLP. Oh, he's got 2 minutes left? Okay, I'll show off the other rotation first. Okay. The best bet you have for training as a bishop is MTS2. The only downside is you need the Arcane Force. You need a good amount of damage. Like, ideally you want your Lucid Soul one-shotting to get the best rates, but two-shotting would even still be better. My Lucid Soul doesn't come close. Even with this really nice shield and weapon, my Lucid Soul is 5-shotting here. So it's not really that useful, but it's still passable, I guess. But it's pretty much the same as every bishop rotation ever. It's just telecasting Big Bang. And the platforms are luckily low enough you can hit the middle and the bottom every time. And then when you're just coming over to the side with your Lucid Soul, throw Peacemaker behind you. If you have lower ping than me, this will feel a lot better than it does for me. Telecasting with high ping is kind of a pain. That's why I really enjoyed my time with Battle Mage with its teleport. It felt really good even with high ping because it would just teleport no matter what. It didn't have old teleport restrictions where you just need to be at the perfect range for the teleport to work. There will be times where you're teleporting left and right in this map and you just won't teleport at all because your teleport can't find a place to put you, so you just stand still and don't do anything. I think that feels really, really awful. And it's a part of Bishop that's just outdated because, again, the last major changes Bishop has had was during the red patch. It really hasn't been changed aside from just gaining these skills since then, and I think that's kind of a shame. The class as it is has one of the best themes in the game, in my opinion. I love the aesthetic of Bishop. I really like how all the skills look. I like the theme of everything. I like the angels. I just like the skill animations, the color palette. Everything works for me aesthetically, but the gameplay side of Bishop is just very outdated. Especially the bossing. Now, I know, solo bossing as a bishop isn't what this class is known for. It's meant to be a bossing character, and at bossing, it's very, very good. Like, it is by far the best support this game has, because it gives your team so much burst, so much survivability, an extra life, tons of healing. It's really good as a support. But as a solo bosser, it's really kind of mediocre. It has good damage lines, and it hits pretty often when you're in bossing mode, but it has no actual burst. It has its buffs, which give it additional damage, but those are unreliable at best. Even your best buff in Infinity is unreliable because you have to wait for it to almost expire to get the most damage out of it. It feels really clunky. Also, I have a problem with Explorer mages, not just Bishop, but with It's going to be all Explorer mages. I'm going to have this problem. Unreliable memory is by far one of the worst mechanics in this game because it has a chance to activate any random skill or hyper skill from 1st to 4th job. That's a lot of skills, you know? But hey, guess what one of those skills is? Oh yeah, it's Infinity! You know, your most powerful buff skill? Oh wait, so your whole bossing pattern, solo bossing as a bishop, is casting Unreliable Memory on cooldown, trying to get Infinity, but you have to toggle out of your bossing mode to cast Unreliable Memory because this skill is so restrictive on what you can do while in bossing mode that you only have like 4 skills you can cast. So you have to toggle out of your bossing mode, cast Unreliable Memory, wait for that to trigger, wait for it to cast the skills animation, and then be like, oh, well, it cast Dispel again. Go back into bossing mode. Continue bossing until it's back off cooldown. Come back out of bossing mode, roll those dice again, see if you get lucky. Oh, you didn't? Go back into bossing mode. It's so bad. It feels awful. I hate it. I hate it. It's one of the worst mechanics in this game, bar none. It feels terrible. The idea behind it is terrible. You're a mage. You are the int class, the smart big brain class, and you're using a skill, Unreliable Memory. You should have the best memory of all the skill of all the classes. You're the big brain smart mage guy. Why do you forget your skills? It just doesn't make sense. I hate this skill, but it's so required at this point because you need Infinity to have as much uptime as humanly possible to be an efficient solo bosser. Like, it's so impactful on your solo bossing. My dojo runs as a bishop would go 3 whole floors higher depending on how many Infinity rolls I got from Unreliable Memory. If I got low Infinity RNG, I did terrible. If I got high Infinity RNG, I was suddenly like rank 5 for all bishops in Vera. It's so dumb how much power is locked behind just pure RNG in this skill. I hate it. It's terrible. I hope it gets fucking reworked ASAP, but I don't see it being reworked because it is really powerful when it works. But when it doesn't work, it's really awful. Ethereal form, it's pretty nice. It's not terrible. It's just nice. Good skill for dodging. General buffs, Bishop isn't really that dynamic of a character. And I think that's my main problem with it. It has no flexibility at all, especially with mobbing. Because at least with bossing, you have a little bit of flexibility. You can be a support, you can be a damage dealer to some extent. You don't really have burst, but that's okay because your consistent damage is pretty high. But for mobbing, you have very, very few options. I mean very few options where Bishop is a generally passable mobber. Like, I did testing for almost 4 hours in Morass and Asphera, and the only map that was good was MTS2. That's ridiculous. Like, any map that is bigger than MTS2 is not acceptable for Bishop. Unless your Lucid Soul is fully one-shotting, which none of my Lucid Souls are going to be one-shotting that high, because I just don't have that Arcane Force or that amount of funding. But unless your Lucid Soul is fully one-shotting, Bishop has, like, no map control. Its only mobbing skill is Big Bang. And Big Bang just isn't a good enough mobbing skill to be the only mobbing skill the class has. Also, as it sits currently, you need to cast Genesis on cooldown to keep Big Bang casting at its max damage, but that's being removed real soon, so I won't harp on that too fast. It was slightly annoying, but at the same time, I would cast Genesis on cooldown anyways, because it's just a really nice mobbing skill. So it's not really a problem. I think it's nice that it's getting removed so you don't have to cast it to do full damage when you don't need to, but pretty acceptable. It's another feature of Bishop that just feels outdated. Like, what other class in the game has 10% damage on their mobbing skill when they have another skill off cooldown? It's just really old kind of balancing. It's not terrible, but it's getting removed, so that's pretty nice. Also, a lot of the restrictions on what you can and can't use while in your bossing mood are getting alleviated in like 6 months. For us, they're just going through on the Tespia server for KMS, so it's not going to be as restrictive to boss with. But at the same time, it's still restrictive, which is kind of annoying. Like, come on. Why does it even restrict anything? For real? Is it really going to be too overpowered if it can cast Genesis while in bossing mode? Oh my god, that sounds so silly, actually, saying that out loud. Oh boy, what if I could cast Genesis in bossing mode? Bishop would be top of the DPS charts, boys. We gotta keep it down. Oh man. But really, that's Bishop. Let's see if CLP is open. If it's not, if he's still doing something, I'll just show what I would do mimicking. Oh hey, he actually left and didn't notify me. That's fine. I can just mimic this, and if he wants the map, I'll pop out. Alright, yeah, he's here, so I'll just teleport around. Generally, the gist of training in CLP is just telecasting, as always. You would cast Genesis on cooldown, and then just big bang, teleport, teleport up, big bang, teleport down, and that's literally your rotation. That's all you do. there is no flexibility to Bishop. It's all teleport, big bang. It's like, what are we going to do in this situation? We'll teleport, and then big bang. By God, look at the diversity. But it's really simple. I would just set your Lucid Soul on the bottom platform next to the rope, because you're not really going to be hitting those corners of the map. And even if your Lucid Soul's not one-shotting, it'll hit them, they'll come over, and then they'll be in your big bang range. The mobbing in CLP isn't bad, but at the same time, I really wasn't in CLP all that much, because again, it was so unbelievably full. All event. It was crazy. It's like there was just a million me's out there all just grinding their hearts out all day, all night, and it's like, holy moly, I kinda miss when there was nobody else training. Oh man. Actually struggling to find maps in 2020. What a world we live in. Oh boy. But that was Bishop. Far easier than it really should have been. Like, for as restrictive and as outdated as this class is, and how desperately Nexon made it to be as unmobbing friendly as possible, it really shouldn't have been this fast of a 250, but hey, Surge Buff was really overpowered. Thanks, Nexon. I love that event. Bring it back. Oh, man. I don't really hate my time with Bishop. I didn't really thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved the aesthetic of Bishop. I like the idea of having just a really, really good support class, but at the same time, it's past time for some updates on this class. Like, a lot of the Explorers could probably use it. The last major update for Explorers was the Red update. So maybe it's past time. Maybe we update all Explorers, but definitely show some love to Bishop. Give him a better teleport. Oh, for God's sakes, please. That's one thing. I didn't mention this in the start. I'm sorry. I really should have. Why is teleport mastery not a skill you can boost? Hello? Hello? You only have 5 skills. It would be perfect. Then you would have 6. It would work. It'd be great. And teleport mastery wouldn't be useless. Ugh. Next on why. Okay. But that was Bishop. For my next 250, haven't decided yet. Again, my options are fairly limited. Oh boy, we have an overlapping piece. Uh-oh. We'll fix it later. My options are fairly limited because of the new V skills that are coming in the future. A lot of the new V skills are going to change mobbing patterns for classes, so I don't want to do any that are going to be seriously affected by their new skills, which leaves me with only the ones that aren't getting new mobbing skills, and even some of those skills might change the mobbing a little bit. I'm looking at you, Hero. Your skill isn't explicitly mobbing, it's mostly just additional damage, but it could be used for mobbing, and for that reason I want to keep it on the back burner until the skill comes out, because I want to have every option at my disposal when testing out maps and rates so that I can give people the best ones. I like testing maps, I like testing different rotations on characters, so the more options I have, the more maps I can feasibly make work for classes. So I don't want to do any too early so that when their skill comes out, then, oh hey, something revolutionized their training rotations, and now all the maps that I did and showed off were worthless. But next one's probably going to take a little longer than Bishop. Didn't think I'd ever say that, but no more Surge buff. I did a lot of training because of this event, like a lot. I averaged way higher than I normally do. I normally try to stick to 4 hours each day because that's a reasonable amount of time for me to do without feeling super burned out. But with the Surge event, I was averaging closer to 8 hours. Oh my god, that's borderline crazy. Like, for 2 weeks straight, not missing a single day of just 8 hours of teleport, big bang, teleport, big bang. Oh man, might have gone a little crazy, but that was Bishop. As always with these videos, if you have any questions about Bishop, about 10k Legion, about my grind, ask them down below. I make it a point in all these videos to answer any and all questions you guys might have, because I love talking about this game. I talked for 30 minutes on a Bishop or on a video about Bishop, for God's sakes. But, as always, thanks for watching. See you next time.